All right, hey, Research Methods 2 lab students. I'm excited to meet you guys in person, but this is probably your first time meeting me in this video. So I'm Dr. Norton, your prof for this class. Just wanted to give you guys one quick thing to do. I said maybe I'll upload a couple videos, but probably it'll just be this one. If you go on to Canvas under Module 1, there's something called Individual Assignment Pick 3. And this is what I want you guys to do. So in this class, or in this lab, I will be trying to mentor you guys or apprentice you guys into being scientists for the first time. Of course, you might have used the scientific method to figure out why your car doesn't start or something. Done experiments to figure out stuff in life. I do that stuff too. It's actually a very cool thing. But this will be probably your first time trying to understand something about the human mind. Using this scientific method. So it's really fun, and I'm looking forward to you guys digging into that. And the first thing I want you guys to try just on your own, you don't have to, work together on this or anything. We'll work together a lot in the lab. But for now, just kind of by yourself, you can go to that first module on Canvas and then go to Lab 1, Individual Assignment, and go to this Pick 3 thing. And just click on this thing here that says the Abstracts list. And there's this is a bunch of peer-reviewed scientific articles on stuff that we, the faculty and the psych department, thought you guys might find interesting. Just kind of scroll through that and just look at the titles for each section. So pro-social behavior and charitable giving, belonging, interpersonal attachment, emotions, working memory, depression is the next one, I think, and the first one is intolerance and prejudice. So think of, out of those 6 topics, pick your top 3 and kind of read through or skim the abstracts for the 3 topics that you actually find the most interesting out of those 6. So you can skip 3 of the topics. And just spend maybe, I would say, probably take you 10 or 15 minutes to do that, because abstracts are really difficult to read. Even for me, I have my PhD. I worked really hard. I've read a lot of abstracts, hundreds or thousands. It's really hard to read an abstract. It's not just like reading 150 words of text, from a novel. It's hard to understand. You probably got to Google stuff and so forth. So spend at least 15 minutes, reading those abstracts. Then the next thing, and just kind of notice what you think. The next thing you want to do is pick a paper that you find really interesting and read the whole paper here. Where are we? Okay, so there's these same topics are listed here, and you can pick a full article to read and just read one. And I've actually added a folder in addition to the 6, one on TikTok, because I just kind of am really interested in that and the psychological effects of TikTok and stuff. So here's what I want you to do is go. This is how I'm going to show you how to read a scientific article. Let's try this one. Okay, so you click on this one. Actually, let me sorry, that's my syllabus. Hang on one second. Let's do this one. So this one I've already read the abstract on. And where are you? You're still recording me, right? Yep. So I've never read this article before, but I'm going to show you guys how I would read it. So the first thing is you read the abstract. So if you're interested in this one, you can read through the abstract closely. Again, probably for one abstract, at least 5 minutes. Read through, Google a bunch of stuff, and see if you can basically tell what they did in the study. I've already read this abstract, so I know they are interested in how TikTok affects women's body-related envy. So how jealous they are of other women's bodies, and then ultimately, and they do several studies. So if we look at in the abstract, it's going to tell us that. Look, study 1A, study 1B, study 2, and then finally study 3. and they did an experiment in study 3. Do you remember from intro psych? I was just teaching intro psych this in the second week here, the difference between a correlation and an experiment. So most of this study, I think, is correlations, but where they're just comparing two variables and they can't make a causal claim. But study 3, they do an experiment. So they might be wanting to make a causal claim here. And so after you've read the abstract, what I always do is I look for the figures. So I'm just kind of scrolling through the whole thing to see how many figures am I dealing with. This is a long paper, you know, but there's not that many figures. So there's some type of results figure here. This is called a violin plot. It's showing where the bulk of the data are and stuff and how much they spread for the experimental condition and the control condition. I have no idea what this means, but I know it's some type of result. And then there's another violin plot. And then this is what's like a methods figure. So I know this is about TikTok. So look at this. This is a picture of a lady on TikTok. It says some sample pictures in the TikTok use priming task of study 1B. The left picture shows an example of a TikTok use in the priming condition, and the right picture shows an example in the control condition. So it's a picture of some pants, and then it's a picture of somebody saw on TikTok. Now, what I'm not sure is, like, how did the TikTok thing work? Did they have people use their own, like, algorithm, or did they give people, like, an algorithm that they knew was going to show them women's bodies? That'd be an interesting thing to kind of dig into. So if I were going to read this, I'd kind of look through and try to find that. I don't really understand these, what exactly they did, and I'm curious. So this is really cool. They got a table. It shows all the 4 studies, study 1A, 1B, 2, and 3. How many people were in each study, so about 200 or at least 100 in each one. Objectives and design. This is really good. It's really nice and clear. So you got study 1B. So I think the next thing I might do, just trying to understand, so I know they have some people that looked at these images, some people that looked at these images. But then what did they find? They have some kind of experimental condition and control condition in study 1B. So there's experiment and control even in study 1B. It's not just study 3 that has an experiment and a control. But you can see the body-related envy is higher in the experimental condition. I think the women who looked at TikTok versus the people who looked at the control images. And then that's for study 3. Body-related envy, again, is higher in the TikTok than in the control. And then how much you're considering getting cosmetic surgery is higher in the women who looked at TikTok than the controls in study 3. So, I mean, kind of from that, I get the basics of this study. That's the short and sweet way to get a sense of a study, is just look at the abstract, then look at the figures. There's some questions I need the answers to that I want to know, like what were the details? What did they exactly do in study 1A, B, and studies 2 and study 3? And I'd go through and look for the methods and try to understand exactly what they did so that I can really understand these results I saw. But I wouldn't really go digging for other results, like all this P, 95% confidence interval stuff in the text. I'm just going to ignore that stuff for right now. Maybe someday if I really get into this and I want to like replicate this study myself, I'll go back and read that stuff. But right now the figures are doing really good for me. That's really the only results I need. So hopefully your study might have some figures you could look through like that. If not, you might have to do some more text reading. But then finally, the last thing I'd do is I'd hunt for something that says discussion. And this study is so long, there's so many different sections, there might be multiple discussions. But here, 8 general discussion. This is like the master discussion. So there's probably a discussion for study 1, a discussion for study 2, and a discussion for study 3. But the general discussion is a good place to start. And always it's the case that the first paragraph of the general discussion, or if there's only one discussion section, the first paragraph of the discussion is the bomb. It's just this really clear, well-written paragraph that says what the take-home message of the study is. So I would read that and try to see. Let's see what it says. By conducting 4 studies, the present research examined the effect and mechanism of TikTok use on the female body-related envy and subsequent downstream consequences. By that, they mean thinking about getting cosmetic surgery. By conducting correlational and causal studies, studies 1A and B found that TikTok use significantly increased female body-related envy. By classifying TikTok use into active and passive TikTok use, study 2 found that passive use rather than active was significantly related to female body-related envy. And I don't really know what they did active versus passive, but I'm curious. I would want to go back in the text and find that. And then finally, appearance upward comparison fully mediated. So now they're using some mediated. That's a statistical term, which you might remember from Dr. Daly last semester, or you might not. I'm not sure. But if you don't know what that means, just ignore it. It's fine. Study 3 found that TikTok use significantly increased women's cosmetic surgery consideration. So that's the take-home message of the study. Now, I've only been recording this video for 11 minutes, and I haven't been talking about this article for the whole time. So in less than 10 minutes, I got a take-home message, kind of basically what this study is about. I'd like you guys to spend maybe like a half an hour with your article. You haven't had as much experience in psychological science as I have, so you probably have to do more Googling of stuff, of what stuff means. And you might get stuck more. A lot of times when you read through science papers, you get stuck and you feel like, oh man, I can't do this. So you might have to plow through that a couple of times, but just keep plowing for like a half an hour. And then you'll have something to talk about when we meet together. You'll have kind of read your abstracts from your 3 sections that you found to be interesting, and you'll have read for about a half an hour, your article, your one article out of the different folders there that you found to be possibly the coolest article. All right. So don't choose the article that I just walked you through. If you want to do a TikTok one, choose the other one in the TikTok folder, and go through that. But looking forward to working with you guys and talking about this stuff together. And enjoy the snow day, and I'll see you next Monday.